to the dead. Kente-Mente was the name of a jackal-headed deity at Abydos in Upper Egypt, who stood guard over the city of the dead. This god attested early at Abydos, perhaps even earlier than the unification of Egypt at the start of the Old Kingdom period. Not perhaps, it is. The Abydos area is also associated with Asar or Osiris and with Wept Wawet. Hear that? With Wept Wawet, who was a wolf or jackal-headed god of nearby Swawat, Asut, and Lycopolis, which means city of the wolf. Yeah. As early as the Old Kingdom, Kente-Amente is associated with Asar or Osiris. I want to go deep into that. At times, Kente-Amente was associated with Yinipu or Anubis, who is also jackal-headed and is associated with Wepwawet in various ways. All right, good. Let's continue here. Don't lose me, family. Kente-Amente and many other spirits in the ancient Egyptian, also bam, bam, bam. Good. Now, I think we would have read some of this. Kente-Amente was depicted as a jackal-headed deity at Abydos in Upper Egypt, who stood guard over the city of the dead. Kente-Mente is attested early at Abydos, perhaps even earlier than the unification at the start of the dynastic period. But this one gives the date of the dynastic period, 3100 BC to 2686 BC. The name appears on the necropolis cylinder seal of the first dynasty of Den. All right. And you see it here, Den, also known as Horden. Again, that is ancient Kemetic Horus kings as well, and Kwa, naming each of their predecessors with the title Horus Kente-Amente. Listen to this, starting with Horus Kente-Amente Nama. Hold on there. I wonder if you pick up what that means. So it is saying now that from the time of the first dynastic period, so the first dynastic king would be Nama, also known as Menes. And the name given to Nama or Menes would have been Horus or Heru, Kente-Amente, Nama. I want you to follow that good, family. So the king of Egypt would have been given the name of Heru first, and then the name of Kente-Amente, and then he as the king, his name would be the last name. Heru, Kente-Amente, Nama. So let's say Dizoja. So it's Heru, Kente-Amente, Dizoja. Khufu, Heru, Kente-Amente, Khufu. Pepe II. Heru, Kente-Amente, Pepe II. Three people named. Heru, Kente-Amente, and then the king's name. Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari. But anyway, so what you have here now, so you clearly see. Now watch this. The roles of Kente-Amente, Osiris, and Anubis underwent considerable changes in the late Old Kingdom. And they have the time frame here for the late Old Kingdom, again, from 2686 to 2181 BCE. Originally, only Anubis or Anpu name appeared in the offering formula that was believed to allow the dead to partake of the offerings they were given to sustain them in the afterlife. Now, in the 5th dynasty, check your dates, from 2494 to 2345 BCE, many gods started to appear in the formula. So prior to the many gods appearing in the formula, in the 5th dynastic period, prior to that, it is Anubis alone's name who would appear in the formula. Hear this? Many gods started to appear in the formula, including Asa or Osiris, whose name does not appear in any text before the start of this same 5th dynasty. And Kente-Amenti names would be seen. So Kente-Amenti and Osiris name would be seen. But this is when Osiris name is started to come out. Let me show you. In the course of the late Old Kingdom, the Kente-Amenti title becomes more clearly connected with Asa, also referred to as Osiris. The jackal hieroglyph that appears in Kente-Amenti's name in the early dynastic period is traditionally seen as a determinative, pardon me, to indicate the god's form. But Terence Duquesne argued, what's he argued about? That the jackal glyph represented the name of Anubis, and that Kente-Amenti was originally an epithet or manifestation of Anubis. In this case, if this is the case, Kente-Amenti would have only begun to be treated as an independent deity in the 5th dynasty, around the same time that Osiris's name first appears. All right, family, let us get this good. I don't want you to lose this. Most inscriptions from that time shows Asa or Osiris and Kente-Amenti shows that they were already closely connected. Harold M. Hayes asserted that the pyramid text, whose earliest known copy only dates to the end of the 5th dynasty, apply the title Kente-Amenti to Anubis and not to Asa or Osiris, and that the pyramid texts reflect the beliefs of an earlier era when Kente-Amenti was not fully independent of Anubis. Wow. Follow it good, family. Not going through all of this to confuse you in any form or any fashion. But what you're clearly getting here now, let's make sure the family fully understand where we are. You see, family, this study is, the mind has to be somewhat furnished for the discussion. Pardon me, give thanks and praise. Let me tell you what I mean. You see, I mean, I'm calling a lot of dates, Old Kingdom, First Dynastic Kingdom period and all of that. What is that? Somebody please mute your microphone for me, please. Please mute your microphone. Are they giving me work to do, eh? Please mute your microphone.
Blessed love, you can also mute when you're in.
I know, but that's work they're giving me to do. That's what I said. Give me work to do. So I'm going to do it now, but I will. Yeah, I see. All right, tone it up, muting your microphone. Thank you very much. Yeah, so again, I beg you, please keep your mics mute, camera off. I don't want to nearly be distracted here even for a moment. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, so as I was saying, what was I saying, man? Nobody answers. All right, I'll pick up myself. Anyway, let me just start the talk. I'll get there sooner or later. So we were reading there with an understanding that you could see now, or what I was saying is that is why it's good to kind of furnish the mind with the different levels of history understanding, dynastic period. So you say the 5th dynasty, the 6th, at least you have an idea, okay, who was ruling at the time, when that was. You could feel it within your bones. Because as you notice, I'm harping on the pre-dynastic era here, before the history that we talk about, this glowing history we talk about, we're talking about before that glowing history that many don't even know about, but yet still you have evidence where you pick up, maybe not Anubis, but characters that are, by according to some scholars, you know, just Anubis by another name. They think. They think. That is why we were highlighting the Hor kings or the Heru figure, pre-dynastic. That is why I started with Seth. Not just pre-dynastic, but the characteristic of Seth that we tend to put him in the box of the devil, when you can clearly see that not only was he a forerunner of God, a protector of the way of God, but even in the great 18th and 19th specifically dynastic period, the Rameses, and the Setis would have brought back dignity to Suket, also known as Set. So this is where we are. Eh? All right. So we brought now Kente Mente into the picture. This is the same Kente Mente. Similar to what you were seeing up here. Same Kente Mente, according to what the glyph says. That is leading the boat of Ra, forerunner again, in front. So what are we looking at here? Anubis, sure, Anubis, 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 Anubis. Eh? What are we looking at here? Horus, 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 no, Ra, Heru, Sokal, Sokal. Important. That is why I highlighted that. Eh? So we learn to be a little more literate here now. You have to pass the stage of ABC. This is where I'm taking it here. So of course, many of the glyphs and papyrus and books that we would get this information from, you would already see it written exactly who you are looking at. So this clearly highlights that we're in the realms of Kente and Mente here, leading the boat of Ra. All right. Now the watcher of the dead. See him here, Kente and Mente. Not considered to be Anubis, but Kente and Mente, the watcher of the dead and the provider and protector of them into the afterworld. All right, good. Just be with I in the family. I really pray that the island be with I. Now let's bring in Webwawet. Webwawet was an ancient wolf god whose worship originated in Upper Egypt. Back to the south again. He was one of the earliest gods to be worshipped at Abydos, possibly predating and absorbing Kenteamente, another god of the Abydos necropolis. By the Old Kingdom, Wep-Wawet was popular throughout Kemet or Egypt, but as Osiris grew in popularity, keep in mind, Osiris was only mentioned for the first time according to what Egyptologists have discovered in the 5th dynastic period. That is why I was showing you earlier that even Osiris's children are considered older than him as far as the knowledge, maybe not the storyline, but even the storyline to some degree. But how we know Osiris introduced to us. He comes in with a story that is older than him too. Osiris being the son of Nut and Geb really is older than even Nut and Geb, because remember the Trinity. Ptah, Sokar, and Asar. Ptah, Sokar, and Asar. So it's a deep, deep science. But as far as our archaeological discoveries now, we're talking about archaeological discoveries. Osiris is not seen before Heru, before Set, and even he is not seen before Kentemente, which really looks just like Anubis. Doesn't appear to have difference. All right, and here comes another Anubis look-alike. Wep-Wawet standard was associated with Upper Egypt and was given the honor of going before the king during many ritual processions. So Wep-Wawet would go before the king. You don't notice Wep-Wawet goes before the king. Kentemente goes before the boat of Ra. They're all forerunners going before the king. I showed you already, when the kings from the time Kemet began, the kings would take the name of Heru, Kenteamente, and plus the king. Remember, before the dynastic period, they were just Hor kings. So you have Hordan, but after the dynastic period went into full swing, Hor, Kenteamente, and the name of the king. Oh, family, this is so important. It's a trinity you're looking at there. Let's just be clear. It's a trinity, not just a trinity. You know, remember, Horus is Emmanuel, you know, whether a person agree or disagree. And then Kenteamente is directly linked to Marcus Garvey, whether a person agree or disagree. And then the king on the throne, the seated king on the throne. Because Hor or Heru is the priest. That's without a doubt. Kenteamente already showing himself here as the forerunner, as the one that goes before. And as Wep-Wawet, they can call him wolf all they want, is the same jackal deity. We'll prove that right now. All right, just tiger with me, family. Be with the tiger. Tiger with me. Now, Wep-Wawet, the opener of the ways. Follow this good. Wep-Wawet was an Egyptian jackal god whose name means the opener of the ways. As such, he helped the deceased through the frequently dangerous parts of the afterlife, clearing the way to the final judgment of the dead. Although frequently paired, hear this, you know, Wep-Wawet, you know, this is the wolf one they call it. Although frequently paired with Anubis in connection with protecting the dead, Wep-Wawet also had his own independent identity. Very important, had his own independent identity, as well as important cult centers at Asyut, also known in Greek as Lyko, Police, Wolftown, see? Same Wolftown. And Anubis and Abydos, pardon. Inscriptions from Lycopolis attest to his status as beloved local god, as a beloved local god. On his own, Wepwawet often appears as a standing jackal or standing jackalhead god when he and Anubis appeared in funerary art. The two gods are typically shown as identical seated jackals facing each other. Kenteamente here. All right. Before I go, this is the Stela of Dan, and this comes from Kwa, all mentioning the great Kente Amente. This one is Wawet. This is Wawet as well. This specific figure is not Anubis, and it's not Kente Amente, it's Wawet. All right. This here, as we would know, is Anubis. Fair enough. Now, usually when you see them facing each other here, it is Wawet and the great Anpu, which is Anubis. You see them here again. Wawet and Anubis taking care of the deity to be resurrected. So Wawet and Anubis always appearing very similar, you know, very similar to each other, are seen working together as a pair. They already showed you that Wawet would have infused himself also into Kente Amente. All of these are seen as different figures, you know, follow this in the family. And all three of them seem to infuse themselves somehow into Asar, into Osiris. Very, very important. Watch them here again, the man. God in the one is known as the opener of the way, and one is known as the foremost of the Westerners. I'm talking about Wawet, the opener of the way, and Kente Amente, the foremost of the Westerners. Do you know, the first time I read about Anubis, I never forget, Anubis, the book I was reading, I'm not sure if it's one of Naim Akbar's book, but the book I was reading clearly said that Anubis is the first god of the North Pole. I said, what? Anubis is the first god of the North Pole. You understand? So Anubis, the jackal character in our mythos, is considered as the first god, again, of the North Pole. And I've come to learn that the Northern Celestial Area is known as the House of Anpu. In fact, our great esteemed scholar, Dr. Charles Finch, would show you that the age of Kephas is coming to replace the age of the jackal. The Big Dipper is considered the jackal, and it is moving out of the northern celestial aspect of the heavens, and now the constellation of Kephas is coming in. So this is an ancient science, the ancient jackal of the North Pole. So Anubis, although Anubis now is not necessarily considered to be older than its predecessors, pardon me, which are Kente, Amente, and Wawet, but yet still Anubis or Anpu is considered the first god of the North Pole. So now then you have to look at this again in the sense that, okay, is Kente Amente just another name for Anubis, or Wawet, another form of Anubis, because the story says that they both infused into Anubis. But you can clearly see the two of them here together, looking at each other from across the hallway, guarding the door of the deceased. They're working together as a team, so you can see, at least with the understanding of the story, that they're different beings. Even when Kente Amente is leading the boat of Ra, look how much jackal you see here, 4 of them. Keep this number in mind, family. Please don't fall asleep now. This is getting hotter. 4 of them leading the bark of Ra, while the great Sek here Sutek killing a pet. Or not a pet, a pep. Must be a soda there, man, a pep. Yeah, trying to come out of the river and get a late night snack. No falcon stew for you. All right, good. So this is the jackal god Anubis we are supposed to believe. And this is why I highlight this. This, of course, is the judgment hall. One Anubis and two Anubis. Now, what you've learned from us thus far tonight, maybe you never really took note of it, but there are many, many, many sightings of more than one jackal-headed figure. So those of us who may not be paying attention, we would simply look on this, the judgment hall, and we all know this. We all know this picture here. And we would say, this is Anubis here, bringing the man in, and then Anubis down here, weighing his heart. Now that may be true. It may be the same Anubis, two different scenes. Or one may be Anubis, and one may be Kendeamente, what you say. Because they look the same. They're known for this. And Wet Wawet and Kenteamente, or Wet Wawet and Anubis guarding the way of the dead. So the reality of it, that it could be more than one of the jackal-headed figures represented here, is not impossible at all. But again, as I said at the beginning of this discussion, we are, in a sense, just learning a lot of what we are getting here as it relates to the understanding of the ancient hieroglyphs